My name's Ron Prescott. I work for ISU Extension Outreach. We'll be looking at the Retail Trade Analysis Report for fiscal year 2004 for the City of Sheldon. On the cover of Sheldon's Retail Trade Report, you'll see these key indicators. And so you'll see real total taxable sales has increased, number of reporting firms has decreased, population's increased, and average sales per capita has increased, as well as average sales per firm has increased. The following graphs we're going to show you is going to give you a little bit more detail about this. But basically, you can take a look at Sheldon. You can say, well, it appears that retail is doing pretty well in Sheldon. Our first graph is the real total taxable sales in Sheldon, and the numbers are in millions of dollars. We see we go 10 years back to 2005, we're at 75 million, and then it kind of deteriorated to 2008, and then we had the recession, and then some growth in 2011 and 12, and then it was pretty consistent in 2013. But now we have this, $4 million growth between 2013 and 14, and so that would be the question as to what happened with the total taxable sales last year. The annualized number of reporting firms in Sheldon, and this is in business numbers. So in fiscal year 2005 we see 241 businesses, and the last slide was showing that we have about 75 billion in taxable sales. In 2009 we had 257 businesses, which reflected a taxable sales number of 66 million. And 2014 we had 245 businesses with a taxable sale of 72. Taxable retail sales per capita. So we take the taxable sales from our previous graph and we divide it by the population of Sheldon, and those are the numbers we see below. Sheldon in the red and the state of Iowa in the blue. So we can see that Sheldon has had a per capita number higher than the state of Iowa for the past 10 years. As a matter of fact, if you look at fiscal year 2011 on, you'll see that the state of Iowa is kind of tapped out, but yet Sheldon is still increasing. In 2014, the numbers for Sheldon were 14,122. State of Iowa was 11,565. And there's a couple of reasons that this could happen. One is we could have an increase in population. Another is we could have an increase in average salary. Or what's more likely is that Sheldon is bringing in more outside customers outside their population base. These population trends for Sheldon in the solid red, O'Brien in the dotted red, and state of Iowa in the blue. And so you can note that the vertical axis here is 105 to 95, so it's kind of an exploded view. You can see Iowa pretty steady growth of about 4% in the last 10 years. Then you can see Sheldon was holding its own until the recession, and then it dropped off, and now it looks like it's leveling off again. O'Brien County has been steadily decreasing, kind of pre-recession era, kind of leveled out, and then it's been steadily dropping off until 2013. These population trends for peer cities, Sheldon in the red is exactly the same as the last slide, but we're comparing it to your peer group average. We divide up all the cities in Iowa in peer groups, and I think your peer group has 62 cities in it, and you can see that the peer group average is pretty much about the same for the last 10 years. But in Sheldon's case, it's gone up during the recession and tapered off post-recession, and so that's a good number to look at. This is the average sales per capita, and it's kind of like a top 10 list within your peer group. You see Sheldon down there in the red with 14,122 per capita figure. The peer group average is 14,100, so you're right above that peer group average, which would probably place you somewhere around 32 out of 62. And then if you want to take a look at what do some of the communities have that we don't have? You could probably go to Iowa Falls and Atlantic and see what's the diversity of their retail trade, or why do they have, can they attract, more shoppers than we do. This is the estimated trade area capture. The vertical axis is actually population and shoppers. So you can see in the red with Sheldon that they've been consistently drawing in more people than what they have population. And so you can see in 2005, 6,318 estimated shoppers, and the population is 5,034. If we jump over to 2014, at the end of the graph, we see 5,932, and the population 5,117. So this is a relationship that you want to keep up and increase if possible. This is the pull factor comparison with your peer group. So it's a little bit different than the last slide. We see a break even of 1.0, and then the red dot is Sheldon and the blue is your peer median, which is something like over 60 cities. And so when we take a look at 2005, we see the peer median at 1.10 and Sheldon at 1.25. And if you take a look at fiscal year 2014, we see the difference in the peer median to be 1/10. And so you've been hanging right in there in the last 5 years. Of course, we would like to have the numbers we had back in 2005, and that would be a good goal to accomplish. Worker inflows and outflows 2011, and you see the blue arrow to the left is living elsewhere and employed in Sheldon. The circle is employed and living in Sheldon, and the red arrow is living in Sheldon and employed elsewhere. Now, we'd love to have everybody just live in Sheldon and being employed in Sheldon, but that's never the case. In this case, you have more workers coming in than you have going out, and so that's a good indication. And we're not sure the makeup of that 1,440 workers that are employed somewhere else, but if they have a better job than they can find maybe in Sheldon, then that's good for retail also.